trying to remember that Bon Jovi song. You gotta hold on to my fat cock and put it in your ass like it or not for love. Now take my cum shot. Oh! No, yeah, I'm recording right now.
Motherfucker, I knew you were going to do that.
That's how that Bon Jovi song does go, right, though? Hey, everybody, this is the Two Guys, One Brain show. End of the world transmissions. EOTWT. Coming at you, two guys from the BDBC club. That's the Big Dick Bad Credit Club. That's us. We got nothing above a 400. Because we got everything above a 9. It just comes with the territory, folks. It's the way it is. There was local news that happened in my area. Actually, right across the street from me. Back, Josh has stayed at my place before. There's a Kroger right across the street. Literally right outside my window. I'm looking right at it. A stone's throw away, guys. And these 3 teenagers decided, man, I'm bored this summer. Let's go see what it's like to actually kill a human being. So they went and killed this homeless man. And I fear that it was the same homeless man that it was around the... It was the episode where I talk about that child that died crossing the street. And that homeless man went and grabbed that blanket.
Yeah.
That bloody blanket. Yeah, it was that one.
It was?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. What's going on with your mic over there, big dog?
It should be good. Hold on.
Sounds like it's clipping in and out of weird business.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's being a dick right now.
My dick is a forest. It's heavily wooded.
It should be better now. So yeah, that fucking sucks, dude. Just in recent events, like Memorial Day weekend, a lot of people died because of barbecues and people shooting at these barbecues and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
guns are too accessible in America. The more guns you have.
Yeah, that poor guy that grabbed that bloody blanket off the highway is gone. He's no longer with us. And it's really weird because there was not just the day before this person was gunned down, there was a couple with 2 little babies, 2 young little babies, and their car broke down right up the street from our house. So we decided to help them. And while we were helping them, Marissa decided to get to know this homeless man to see what his story was, And apparently he lost all of his belongings in a house fire, and he was trying to get his ID. You know what I mean? He was working at a 7-Eleven. He was actually camping out near the 7-Eleven, and that's where he worked. He was trying to save up to get an ID. It was like $19 or something like that. I don't remember how much it cost, but apparently he's got other shit to deal with, or not anymore, unfortunately. Rest in peace.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on in the world. This is Roe v. Wade was overturned, and I don't think that was right. I don't think that it was. I don't know. I don't. That's not the platform for today.
Yeah, it's not. But it's an interesting platform to talk about.
Yeah.
Eventually
we'll talk about it.
Because we're talking about something spooky today, guys.
Yeah, we're talking about. It's first off, fuck religion. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. We're talking about.
I'm an atheist.
We're talking about paranormal events today, guys. We're talking about atheism is just like religion. I think like you have faith that there is no God. That's.
I have no faith.
There's nothing scientific about atheism. Science would be like, they wouldn't be atheists. They'd be kind of an agnostic bunch.
Yeah, they'd be agnostic.
So we're going to talk about paranormal events. A book that's called, what is it called, Josh? I don't have that readily available.
Ghost stories, the most horrifying ghost stories from around the world, including disturbing ghost hauntings and paranormal stories.
And the last name of this woman is Tiddy, right? Or Tidy, excuse me.
Night Terror Publishing. Hold on, you're right. Hold on. What,
Something tidy.
You're right. It is tidy.
Titty.
Where is the author's name?
Library. Let me see.
Why
Her
aren't
name. Oh, it tells you who narrated it. Martin James narrated
Martin
it.
James narrated it by.
That's all that matters.
Yep. Hold on a second. What the fuck? Why wouldn't it give us the name?
It is weird. Noam Chomsky. It tells you the publishing. It was something tidy. Something tidy.
It is tidy. Something tidy.
Big old titty dicks. Well, anyway, her book, we're going to talk about some of her book, but we're also going to talk about how her book is a little biased. And frankly, they choose low-hanging fruit, and it's mostly uninteresting. But
it was. It's the same shit that you watch on TV.
But lucky for you guys, most of our lives, we've had paranormal happenings. We've moved all over the world, and we've lived in places. You have to excuse the noise. That's Josh's butt airing out from a big old giant cock going in and out of it all day. But I'm going to talk about something that happened to me in 2015 that completely fractured my perception of life. So you guys are in luck. Like I said, I have my own biased stories of supernatural events that actually happened to me, and we're going to explain that today. And we have a guest appearance from our own podcast today. Our first episode, there was a guest that came in uninvited, I guess. Josh's kids found it, and we're going to listen to that today too.
Yeah, they were like, they were freaked out, and we kept listening to it, and we called you that day. It was pretty cool.
It's going to be interesting to listen to it live with you, and I'm so fucking hard right now, dude. I can't.
Man, you hard. I'm hard.
I'm looking at this veiny, snickery dick right now, and I can't help but want to beat the fucking shit out of that thing.
Oh man, why stop there?
We're gonna talk about some other cool stuff too. Like our next episode, I'd like to do something on demonology, because demonology goes so deep, dude. I was listening to it, a bunch of stuff, researching a bunch of stuff that I've researched over the years too, because of the things that happened to me. But there's a book called The Lesser Key of Solomon, and it's super awesome. And then King James wrote a whole bunch of demonology books. This dude was not like you know how the guy that published the King James Bible.
Yeah.
This guy was a scholar, man. I had no idea how deep he got into shit. But this motherfucker got his poo-poo waders on and went and fucking trudged through the shit. That motherfucker is part of the BDBC club. Man, motherfucker's walking around with big old giant Kong dong, facing demons and trapping the big heavy demons, fucking them in the ass, making them do that, making them make that noise that Josh was making earlier. Ooh. That's their butt flap making it.
All right. So 2015, Jesse. This is Minot, where I'm at.
Yes, where you live currently. So through the course of our life, I'm gonna backstep real quick. While we were researching for this episode, I dreamt about Sam, my dog that passed away 2 years ago, and it's the first time I dreamt about him in a long time, and I missed him I missed that dog so fucking much. Like, you don't even know how much it meant for me to see this guy in my dream. But it was crazy, this dream. You know how horror dreams start out, like you're in a very confusing place. It's a labyrinth, right? The setup is for your mind to not be able to escape or feel like you're insecure. You know, a very large labyrinthian place that you can't get away from, and then there's impending doom, right? That's how the dream was basically in beta mode, and it was starting out, and I was just there waiting for everything to load, basically. And for the main antagonist to come in and start fucking with me. And all of a sudden, Sam enters my dream. My beautiful dog, Sam, enters my dream and just makes it a dream about him cuddling with me for the rest of the 9 hours that I slept, or 8 hours, or however long. Most likely it was 5 hours of sleep, but still. Yeah. He visited me because we were. I believe this. He visited me while we were doing this research because something else was trying to visit me again. And I'll explain what and why, and why I believe that. This dog has been with me since the beginning, and ever since things started happening to me, he started going through some stuff too. Like he had seizures, very bad seizures. So, starting out, when we moved to Aviano, Italy. Actually, when we got stationed to Aviano Air Base, Italy, and we moved to Cultura di Polcenego, Italy. The house that we moved into was very strange. It was a 3-story split-level house. And when we were at school, Mom heard things running up and down the stairs. And there was one instance where we had marble floor, so you could hear everything that was going on. If somebody was wearing shoes, you could hear the little tiny pieces of gravel scraping against the marble floor. And anyway, a figure that was about 6'3" came over to my doorway and was just standing there, and I saw the figure. And you remember we had those lights that were connected to the wall, and we could like flip them on and off the whole light to the room, right by our bed. How the Italian light system worked. Something told me not to fuck with that light because something bad was gonna happen. So I didn't. And then the next day I asked Dad if it was him because Dad's 6'2". And he said, no, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. He's not the type of the guy to lie, and there's no reason why he would have been up there anyway. Yeah. But there are not too many bad, weird things happened in Italy, except for your TV glowed a lot, and you decided you were a little insecure, and you decided to sleep with us in our room.
Yeah, that room was scary as fuck, man.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it, and I was happy to be there for you. Fast forward, we moved to Colorado Springs after that. Nothing too relevant happened there. There was some family drama, but nothing relevant really. We smoked a lot of weed.
Yeah, we didn't. There was no any encounters with the.
We got higher than angel pussy in fucking Colorado Springs.
Jeez. Well, it was good times in Colorado Springs, but I don't think any.
In the spirit of paranormal.
Any kind of spirits that followed us.
Yeah.
That we could tell. I mean, I'm not. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah. Fast forward to Kadena Air Force Base, Okinawa, Japan. The most haunted place that we've lived. I mean, and it was a physical community phenomenon. Everybody experienced it. So we lived in this house on top of a hill that overlooked a valley. That place was so beautiful, man. I missed the shit out of Okinawa, but it was super fucking haunted. And it was just well known. Everybody knows that there's some shit that goes down. They have all kinds of demons, ghosts, all kinds of shit. But we had a specific one in our house at 3:30 every night. The doorbell would ring and all the doors would slam shut in the house at the same time. Do you remember that?
I don't think I ever experienced that.
Mom remembers it. I wish Mom was on this podcast right now. Dad remembers it, Donnie remembers it, and Jenny remembers it. You barely spent a lot of time in that house when we first moved there, from what I remember. But there was a couple times that you did come into my room and you said, dude, why'd you slam my door, or who rang the doorbell? I do remember that.
Oh, shit.
So, anyway, a couple times when I was awake for it to happen, or not awake, it was a situational thing. Most of the time I was in my room when it happened. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. But there was one specific time that I was in there and I heard something scratching under my bed, and then the door slammed, and then the fucking doorbell rang. Mom would always get up and swing the door open and be like, what the fuck's going on, But there was one time in specific that I was talking to a girl named Lindsay It was the girl I was dating at the time. And I was sitting on the couch in the living room. It was one of those corded phones, you know, 'cause that's the era that we grew up in. And it was crazy, man. I saw out of it was around that time, around 3:30, right? But everything happened differently from the perspective that I was at, from the plane of existence that I was at, from the dimension that I was perceiving this from, right? So in the kitchen to my right, right above the freezer, there was this giant flash of light that just appeared out of nowhere. It was like a flash, like, you know, it made a noise and everything. It was fucking bizarre. And I thought I was like the guy from fucking Phenomenon, the movie, you know, where he saw that big thing, and it was, in the end, he had like, or during the movie, he had these crazy cool powers where he could telekinetically move glasses and shit like that, but then he realized he had just a weird tumor in his brain. Yeah. So I thought like something like that happened to me or something. I was like, that was a little fucking weird, you know, or like migraine aura or something, you know?
Yeah.
And I was telling her about it, and she was like, maybe it's a ghost. And I was like, yeah, maybe. So whatever, you know. So I heard the doorbell ring, and I walk over to the door to go and answer the door. Because I wasn't even with it. Like, I didn't think about, oh, this is 3:30. This is the just regular weird time that this happens. So as I'm walking, I look to my right, and I look down the hallway, and your door closes last. It's like this slow close, from my perception. It's really strange.
Yeah.
I open the door, the front door, and I look out, and there's nobody there. And I close the door. And Mom is right behind me. It's like she's fucking teleported there. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh! Fucking shit my pants. I was throwing it all over the place. Like, who fucking pooped in my shorts? That's embarrassing. You know, like. And she was like, hey, just who closed all the doors? She's like, you don't even be slamming doors and shit. And I was just like, nobody slammed any doors. You know what I mean? Like, the way that I perceived it. It was so weird. Everything was in slow motion to me, as opposed to when I'm in my room on those normal nights, and everything would just slam simultaneously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that conversation ends. She goes right back to bed, and I go back to the recliner that, or I went to go back to the recliner that I was sitting in to talk to Lindsay, and in the shrunk, you know how it had all those, the shrunk, the what is it called? It's like an entertainment center with a bunch of little tiny glass doors. Yeah. And in the reflection of the glass, there was about a 6'3" older white gentleman. And this is what's strange to me. It was an older white gentleman who was standing behind me in Okinawa, Japan, Kadena Air Force Base. An older white gentleman has no reason to be in that area. You know what I mean? It's not going to be stationed at that Air Force base. He's not, you know what I mean? He's not in, there's no reason for an old, like a 90-year-old white man to be in Japan for a ghost even. You know what I mean? But for some reason, and it was a ghost. It was or an apparition. From what I understood of what I screamed, man. I was because he was staring at me and he was angry, and I had no idea who this fucking white guy is, and it still haunts me to this day. Literally, I have no fucking idea who that dude was.
Yeah.
So I go back to the phone, and because I look down and I look back up, and he's not there anymore. You know how that is. You know, when you're freaked the fuck out, you just make sure it's not there. You know. So I just brushed it off after he wasn't there the second time I looked, and I went back to the recliner and I sat down. And I told her about what was going on, and I felt a tugging at the phone, right? Like it was being pulled out of my hand. And I looked down, and, you know, the phone cord was bunching up, as if somebody would put their finger inside the phone cord, that little, the spirally phone cord, and started just twirling their finger around. And when I looked at it, it's like they pulled their finger out right when I looked at it, and it just sprawled out everywhere. And then I got up and I was like, all right, I'm letting you go.
This is back in the day when we didn't have cell phones.
Yeah, no, this was
pre-cell phone era.
This was
authentic shit right here.
closing the tab will lose. No, I'm sorry. I was reading the clean feed was decided to let me know that we need to save regularly, but I'm not going to do that. I hope we don't lose this.
I got a couple stories too. If you're not done,
please. So Okinawa's not done yet, but I will return to that. Please, Joshua, let's make this our juiciest episode. Let's fucking get our pussy juice out there for the BDBC club in the end of the world transmissions.
So I was staying with a friend in Netherlands. His name's Savage, Chuck Savage.
I met that guy, right? In Auburn?
Oh, no, you met Eric.
Okay.
But we were stationed in the Netherlands together. He had this big house. And I hear these steps, these heavy steps, boom, boom, going up the stairs. And the stairs are between me and him. I'm sleeping in the living room. He's sleeping in his room. And I'm like, hey, Savage, everything good up there, man? Because, what's up, man? And he's like, dude, I'm in here. You hear that shit, too? And up to that point, he was telling me ghost stories about his house, and I was like, that's bullshit, man. It's bullshit. And that was like, it was around like 3 o'clock, 3:30ish, and it was boom, boom, boom. You know, like heavy steps, like a heavy man walking up the stairs, and I didn't believe him until then. He actually moved out of his house, man. Like
just because of that.
Yeah, because of that and other incidences, he said that the apparition would come to his front door, to his room, and he'd scare the shit out. The only thing he had was his dog Zeus, big ass Rottweiler that he would sleep with.
Yeah, no kidding. You sleep with the fuck out of that dog. No, I know exactly what your buddy went through, man. And I'm about to when I go further in the timeline of this shit, man. I'll explain exactly the isolation that I went through and how it fucking felt, man.
So, in Alaska, I never liked sleeping alone. And the reason was the door would open sometimes and slam shut, and then I'd feel something like heavy on that foot of my bed, like it was looking at me, and I'd wake up, you know, like, and then the heaviness would go away, and then I would go downstairs and, you know, kind of bug my ex at the time. Hey, you gonna come upstairs and sleep?
There's a ghost in there trying to fuck me. I might let it if you don't come up.
I bring the cat upstairs. Come here, kitty, kitty.
Cat's like, oh, fuck that shit. I know what's up there.
Man? So, yeah, there's times, and so in Korea, this guy, he committed suicide, and I responded. I mean, we responded. I was part of a response team that went there to, you know, remove the remains, all that kind of stuff. And
jeez. Not
too long after that, I went to the same building that he lived in because, you know, the other place I was staying in, I couldn't stay in, so I had to go over there and stay. And every time I'd walk by this one door, I'd hear a knock. And sometimes when I slept, I would hear knocks around me. It got so bad, I kept the light on in my living room, or my kitchen, because I didn't trust the darkness, the complete darkness, because
I get it.
I wanted to see whatever it was that was knocking. And it always happened between me sleeping or not sleep and sleep, you know, like as you're about to ease in and sleep, and out here.
Yeah, like they're targeting you to make you more tired, and kind of ruin your life in a way.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
That similar occurrences. It also could be explained away with science being like, yeah, you were in that between stage and you were just exhausted and whatever, and you might have been in, you know what I mean? But you know yourself what you're actually going through. Nothing else can explain that your intuitive feeling that you know you're not fucking nuts, you know?
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. I didn't know that. Why didn't you tell me this shit when I told you what the fuck was going on with me, you dickhead?
In Guam, I had was going to sleep, and I turn around. There's this like, you know, like there's darkness, and then there was this figure standing right behind me as I was sleeping, and I turned around. You're like, whatever, it's a figment of my imagination. All of a sudden, I felt this fight or flights thing, and I was like, you know what, fuck this. And I went up, guns ablazing, swinging, and into the apparition, around the apparition, and it disappeared. And my boys and my ex were sleeping out in the living room over there in Guam, so I decided to go out there and sleep with them. Because, you know, there's strength in numbers, and I felt more secure, even though I'm like the strongest one in the house, the biggest one in the house.
That is so fucking, that is so much more epic than what I did when I realized I was fucking haunted. I was just like, don't talk about it. Don't even listen. Don't acknowledge its existence. You know, like, I was alone. I was scared shitless, man. I was like, this thing's going to fucking crush my windpipe from the inside of my body because it can do whatever the fuck it wants. You know what I mean? Like,
so the last thing I want to talk about is one time I had this dream in Alaska, and I was going downstairs, and I had the flashlight, and the darkness it wouldn't even pierce it, and I felt something out there, and I was yelling I see you out there, come and get me, and I was so pissed off in the dream because I was like, you know what, fuck it, why are you out there lurking, just come over here at me right now, you know. So you just get over and done with. It was so like, I was so entranced in the dream that Dee Dee was like, what's wrong, because I was yelling in my sleep. And it's, you know, I never really talked about that, but like it was so dark. It was I don't know how to explain it. The light didn't even pierce it. You know, I mean, you couldn't see anything. The only thing I could see was my hand because of the light, and sometimes it would pan out in my dream. I could see myself, and the only thing I could see is my hand and my face. And that's probably where I thought something was looking at me, because it would pan out.
Dude, that's still way more fucking epic than... Lately, I've been a little bit more brave. Lately, and since I've come to a better place in my life. But when it was going on with me, man... Because let me explain to you, when I was going down the timeline, the first time I ever knew that I encountered something that I thought was obsessed with me, that just attached itself to me, I was high on Robitussin in my room in Okinawa, Japan, yeah. And I saw...
Sounds like an Okinawa thing to do.
I saw it fucking with me. Like, I knew that it wasn't part of the way the drug was dealing with me. I was off the high anyway for a while, and this thing was messing with my TV, and I said, you need to leave me the fuck alone. I was like, don't make me fucking... I don't remember exactly what I said, but I was brave as fuck. You know what I mean? I was like, get the fuck out. You know? And it actually stopped messing with me for a while, man. But that was... and like that... during those times, it made me think that nothing ever happened, and I completely forgot about that time of my life, which makes me think like that's the thing. Like my phase of 2015 to now, I think that I keep thinking that that's my most recent thing. Not only my most recent, but the only time that's ever happened to me, and I keep forgetting that I've had bouts in my life where very strange things have happened to me.
Yeah. Do you remember that one time in Okinawa we went into that cave? I don't know if you're going to talk about that.
Yeah, I wasn't, but thanks for bringing it up. Did you see that
You bring
happen?
up your side of the story. No, I was in there with you. I was behind you guys.
But you didn't see it happen.
No, this is from my perspective, and you can talk about yours. So I was behind you guys, right, walking, and you guys had your lights and shit, and I was trying to be tough in front of the teenage ladies that were waiting for us out there. So I don't need no goddamn light. I'm a big.
Oh, dude,
guy.
we need to talk about Aha Falls, man.
Oh yeah, dude. There's still pictures of those.
Yeah, that
those
still
faces.
freaks me the fuck out. But that's the freakiest picture. We have the negative, but the guy, the Navy guy stole the positive. He has it, wherever the fuck he lives. That was way back in the day, so I haven't seen it online or anything like that, but that is a crucial piece of evidence that fucking paranormal activity exists, because that is some fucked up shit in that photo. You remember that, right?
Yeah, Mom pointed it out.
Mom pointed out, and then we found out, we saw the actual details that couldn't be refuted. You know what I mean? Like, it was fucked up. Like,
yeah.
she was like, look, it's a ribbon. And then we realized the ribbon was a pearl necklace that belonged to a lady that was getting her fucking head bit. And they were surrounded by these morphed faces. It was so fucking weird, man. Sorry. I'm excited about this.
So from my perspective, in the tunnel, right, you had Mr. Parrish, Jeremiah.
Yeah, Jeremiah.
I think
Zach and Justin.
Zach and Justin were in front with the flashlights and video cameras.
Yeah.
You guys throw a rock, right?
No, it was a World War II era Coke can or something like that. It was an old Coke can, very old.
You throw it, and I'm behind you guys.
No, Zach threw it to us. Zach threw it to Justin because he wanted it. He was a can collector.
Well, somebody threw something, but instead of it going in front of you guys, it went to my feet. You know what I mean? Because I was behind you. I was like, what the fuck? And it's either somebody kicked a rock or I remember it to this day because it was a rock. Somebody threw it. And
everybody ducked because of what they saw, how they saw it. It was, dude, it was such a fucking
you guys see something
experience.
And run out, right? Right? And I'm, still trying to be this tough teenage boy, and impress the ladies and shit because I want to lay one down, you know what I mean? So I'm like walking, without any flashlights or
trying to start on that bed credit early.
So it's super dark in there, right? And I'm like, yeah, there's nothing in here, they're just, and I see like the end of the tunnel. It's super, like it's there, but it doesn't provide too much light. But all of a sudden I feel this like intense violence towards me, like this intent of anger, everything, just right there behind me waiting, hey, I'm right here. Even though I felt that, I knew I felt it. And I wasn't gonna,
you still I'm walking.
I'm walking. Yeah. And I exited, but I definitely did feel something. So whatever you guys saw, go ahead, Jesse. Tell us what you saw.
Okay, so we didn't see anything. We heard something, but towards the end, we didn't see anything freaky except for when Zach threw that can. It split in two, man. It turned into two cans in midair. One shot at Justin's head, and the other one shot at me. And I ducked, and Justin ducked. And then he picked it up, and he said, it's just one can. And everybody's like, what the fuck? Did you see that? And I didn't ever hear your perception until today. That's really interesting. And then we heard something, like a guttural something, and then we ran, because we were 16 years old, fucking messing with shit that probably fucked us over to today, Yeah.
But it was some scary shit, man. I tell you what. We were trying to be tough, but it was an Okinawa tunnel where a group of ladies went to go kill themselves.
Yeah, it was also a bomb bunker.
Yeah.
Where not an American bomb bunker either. It was for the Japanese. So there's a lot of Japanese have a lot of wrathful ghosts, and we'll get into that in the next episode.
I think a lot
if we
of
have
cultures that are old have a lot of wrathful ghosts.
Yeah, oh yeah. But I mean, dude, cultures since the beginning of time have stories about ghosts. I mean, that should be a testament. I think it's funny how we're not citing Tidy's book because it was just so mainstream, man. Like, she talks about everything everybody knows. The last story is something that really freaks me the fuck out, though.
So yeah, you go with that one, but the one story, there's one story that I want to highlight too.
Okay, well, we'll talk about. I'll talk about that later. I was gonna keep going down the timeline with.
Okay. Go for it, bro. Go for it.
So I'm driving from Lauren's house, my high school sweetheart in Okinawa, and it's 3:00 in the morning, about 3:00, and I pull into our neighborhood, and I'm pulling up to our house. I'm listening to Thrice, The Illusion of Safety album, just fucking blasting that shit on. And I had 312s on a, I can't remember what the amp was, but it was a pretty good amp. It was like 800 or whatever. But in the middle of this song, which makes me think there's something special about Thrice, because I really fucking love Thrice. It's such a great song, or it's band. They're such a great band, dude. You need to get into them. Maybe there's something about them, spiritually or whatever. I mean, I know they're a super Christian band. I don't think that has to do anything with it, though. I think there's something different about them. But I was listening to Thrice, and the loudest fucking roar comes from the back seat of my car. And let me go into parentheses here and go to the night before. The night before, me and Lauren are coming out of the movie theater, and I drop her off at home. She lives right by the movie theater area. Well, she lives down the street, and these guys hail me after as I'm going home. They hail me to they're stranded, and they need me to give them a ride to Foster or whatever. What was the Marine base or the Navy base?
Yeah. Fuck, I can't remember.
There was a Navy base. I had to drive them all the way to that Navy base. They were drunk as hell, but or not they. It was one guy. He was sitting in the front with me. He was talking, and he said, "Man, is your friend back there okay?" And he kept pointing back there. And I was like, "Dude, there's nobody back there." He was kind of freaking me out. I was like, "There ain't nobody back there. This motherfucker's blitzed as shit." He's like, "Oh, okay." And he keeps brushing it off, but then he keeps like, "Hey, man, your friend's looking at me kind of fucking weird, you know." And he just kept with it. He didn't break that. You know what I mean? And I finally I dropped him off and all that stuff, and I brushed it off. Matter of fact, I didn't revisit that memory until recent.
Yeah.
Thinking about it. So, going back into the story, I'm half a block from the house. I'm pulling up. So there must be something with our neighborhood around that time. You know what I mean? Something must have happened in that part of Okinawa around 3 o'clock, 3:30. Because over my music, it's like, dude, I felt the fucking car shake. I felt my fucking eardrum shake. It was so fucking weird. And you know how like in Okinawa, the cars are set up like British cars. You know, you drive on the right side.
Yeah,
Also, you drive on the right side of the road, whatever. Free left turns. So the growl, it's not even a growl. It's a fucking roar. It sounds reminiscent of a lion's roar, but it's just fucking unhuman, anything on this planet, and it just fucking rattled me to my core, man. I fucking like swerved off the road. It got me, man. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. And I drove home with my foot out the door and the door wide open and half my body out the fucking door, and I'm looking in the rearview mirror and I'm looking at the seat and I'm looking in the rearview mirror and I'm looking at the seat until I don't think I slept that night. And the next day, yeah, dude, I was fucked, man. I had never been through something like that. That shit fucked me over, man. And I'll never forget that. That is the weirdest thing that I've ever... sometimes I get in my car in the morning and I'm like, I better not happen. I'm not ready for that shit to happen this week, you know? Like, but, fast forward to Minot, North Dakota. And relatively nothing happens for the longest time. Connor is born. Nothing happens. Around the time that his mom and I broke up. Matter of fact, we'll say a whole year after him and his mom and I broke up, we're in my new apartment in Minot, North Dakota, and we're listening to ghost stories on YouTube, and one comes up, and it's like the guy was like explaining like, oh, if you listen to this story, some weird stuff will happen to you. And I was like, okay, I guess we're not listening to that one because I don't want fucking weird shit happening to us. You never know. You know what I mean? So I turned it off. Mom calls us from Texas and wants to talk to us because it's around the holidays, or I think it's coming close to the holidays. I can't remember exactly. Snow outside, but that's always in North Dakota. So anyway, I answer. We talk to her, and all of a sudden, she cuts silent, and we can't hear her. So I hang up the phone. Mom calls back. Mom said that the weirdest thing happened, that we cut out, but she heard. The way she explained it, she was in a room. It sounded like she was in a room where there were at least 100 people talking, but they weren't talking to each other. They were just talking. They weren't acknowledging each other. They weren't having a coherent conversation with each other. It was just a lot of people in there, and their voices were being carried for some reason or another, and she thought it was really strange. And that's the beginning of the new entity haunting. Josh, if you wanna get any stories say anything before I jump into the weird shenanigans that I went through in Okinawa to Texas, or not Okinawa, Minot to Texas.
Let's see. No, it's been like the stuff I talked about, relatively quiet. Other than the Italian stores where we heard people. People going upstairs.
Yeah.
That was about it. But go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, it started out with when I dropped Conroy off at his mom's, because I used to get him for the weekends. Sunday night started out with a strange bruise on my left wrist. But it basically I fell into a deep nap, and I woke up with sweat all over my body. The dream that I had was so fucking bizarre. I couldn't remember what it was. I can't remember what it was, but it was just a fucking bizarre dream, and I don't even know why I fell asleep, because I was about to do something. I was about to do the dishes or something, or just get ready for the week, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was experiencing a lot of poverty at this moment. A lot of bad things had just happened in my life, and I was in kind of coming out of a depression, just building my life back up from the nothingness that came into what it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I looked at my left wrist, and there was a purple mark of a handprint. Now, if you're thinking that maybe I just fell asleep with my hand on my left wrist, it was actually a left hand print facing the right. You know what I mean? As if somebody put their left hand on me and just fucking squeezed the shit out of my fucking wrist. That's how it started out. My brain did not let me forgive that. It was like, dude, there's no fucking way you woke up with that bruise.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way that bruise is possible. You know what I mean? My brain was just like not letting it go. You know, like I obsessed over this for a good 3 days. You know what I mean? But not only that, weird noises started happening. I started getting strange scratches. And I knew about the scratches before I even saw them manifest, because I felt a burning sensation before they even rose. And it was like they rose like a little insect bite, a long insect bite that came from the inside out. And then it would break the skin like a scratch. And it wouldn't last it wouldn't stay open more than a day. Like it would start to heal again. It was really strange. But I started noticing strange things out of the corner of my eye, as if to say, right when I looked in that direction, this thing wanted to be noticed, but not noticed in a way that was blatant, but in a way that it was trying to fuck with me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So as I looked over, a certain thing would just be tipped over or lifted up and moved. You know what I mean? Or just slid across something, right?
Yeah.
And it started to fuck with me really bad. Some things, like things that belonged to Jesse, You know Jesse, he's over there,
Sure.
friend of the family. Things that belonged to Jesse would just end up on my kitchen table out of nowhere, and it actually freaked him out because he lived across town from me, all the way across town. I lived on North Hill, he lived on South. As you come in from Minot Air Force Base, I was right across the airport there in Minot, right across the street. When I went to sleep at night, I was woke up by the strangest fucking noises, man. Like, one was an alarm, like a weird. Remember the alarm in Resident Evil 2 at the end, or was it Nemesis? At the end, or towards the end of the game when you're facing the main guy, it's like.
Yeah.
It was that. You know what I mean? I looked all over the place for that. Strange pictures would I took pictures on my phone, it would the resolution would be strange, and I would see different figures that I wouldn't even have taken pictures of in the first place. I was trying to take pictures of something solid and static, and strange things would just pop up into my phone. Things that would almost made me go insane because I was trying to figure out what the fuck it was. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like the shapes of things, you know, that just couldn't be possible. But there was one night, I was sleeping in my bed, and I was woke up by the sound of a crash, and Sam, my dog, just barking, just violently barking. And my window was broken, and I couldn't find glass anywhere in the house, but the window was broken, right? And I was like, what the fuck is going on, you know? So I walked outside, and there was glass all over the ground outside the window. And the only thing that I saw for footprints was a strange footprint that I took a picture of on my old phone. I wish I had that old phone. It looked like a giant dog print, dude. I don't know how to explain it. It was huge. And it was only one. It was only one fucking print. Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. So that made me fucking feel like I started to feel like I was going like schizophrenic, you know, like I was like, did I fucking just break my window? You know, what the fuck's going on? Like, there's no possible way this shit's going down. And I started noticing a strange liquid that would show up in my sink and on certain items around the house. It was a pinkish, bluish type of liquid, and when I touched it, it was cold. And it almost immediately evaporated in my fingers. Like, if you were to roll it in your index finger and your thumb, it would evaporate like rubbing alcohol. Like, it didn't exist in this plane. You know what I mean? It was really strange. Like, it looked goopy, but it didn't feel like anything but cold. Not slimy, nothing, just cold. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to say it was ectoplasm or anything like that, because from what I read about ectoplasm and all this stuff, like, you can bet your fucking ass, I started to research my ass off about demons and ghosts and what this could have been that was haunting me. And it just scared me so fucking bad that I had to stop eventually because it was driving me crazy. But I realized that ectoplasm was a thing that was made up by mediums to try and, like, you know, it was like a conning prop, right? But then I thought to myself, that might be true. But if there's something that's this powerful that's messing with me, then it's aware that that was a conning prop, and it's aware of how to fuck with me exactly. You know what I mean? So it could probably manifest that whether it wanted to or not. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just to fuck with me. I started thinking of the limitless possibilities of a fourth dimensional being and what it was capable of doing. And then I started to think of why in the fuck was it attached to me, or why this thing thought that I was special. And I started to think maybe I wasn't special. Maybe I was so depressed that I was attracting flies to shit. Like, I'm the stinky shit. And this thing came to me out of nowhere. That, or the times that I've had, like, when I moved to, because I went so far into poverty that I had to move to Texas. And when I moved to Texas, weird things started happening to the family in Texas.
Yeah, I remember the stories.
But yeah, and it's always like these weird sweating dreams. Like these Donnie and Bianca, my little brother and his wife, started going through some weird stuff, and they turned to Christianity to help them out during those times. But
Yeah, they prayed when they heard something in their bed.
yeah. So, quick backdrop. I worked nursing homes for a very long time, and I did see apparitions working the night shift, which really didn't. Man, that's strange. I just heard when your ears ring, my ears started ringing, tinnitus or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, working night shift, I fell asleep, and this was shortly, like real close to 2015 when things started to get real escalated. But this is, like I said, it's a quick backdrop, and I almost forgot to tell this story, so it's gonna be part of the connecting dots. You had to put a code in to go into the Alzheimer's unit that I worked in, right?
Yeah, I think your buddy told me some stories about this place. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, there's some fucked up shit that went down in there. With the people too, it's almost like sometimes they got possessed. You know what I mean? Because of some of the stuff like they'd say, like they go into a complete moment of clarity. But I'm not going to talk about that. That's not something that I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is this experience I had when I fell asleep in this nursing home. In the Alzheimer's unit, which is a very dangerous thing if you don't know. You have a whole bunch of people who have dementia walking around, and they could fucking do anything they want to. What was that?
Sorry.
You fall asleep in 2 seconds, you're gonna wake up with a fucking dirty brief in your face. You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do with this shit? But no, so I did the brave thing and fell asleep because I was going to college during the day and working during the night shift. And I remember looking up at this because basically the dream was in that place. Exactly where I was. I fell asleep and it's like nothing changed, right? So the dream started out, I looked up at the door and I saw the green light go on. Because you have to push a code to get into the door, and like somebody's coming in because you can see a green light. The red light turns green, and then somebody's about to enter. But I looked up before the light turned green, and I knew somebody was coming. And I was a big journaler. I wrote in the journal a lot, and something happened, man. Like this thing walked in the door turned green, and this beautiful girl comes in. She had strawberry blonde hair and these green eyes, beautiful woman. And she sat on the couch next to me, and I was with somebody at the time. So the whole thing was weird because it was so surreal. What was that noise?
Sorry, bro. My phone's doing some weird shit.
Oh, okay. So anyway, this girl comes over to me, and she sits down, and she looks at me with those beautiful green eyes. And she starts kissing me. And then everything inside of me was like, dude, this is fucked up. So I woke up. I fucking jolted awake. You know what I mean? Because the whole thing was weird. I didn't know who that person was. I never met that person. And I woke up. And that was it for the dream.
Yeah.
But in the corner of that nursing home in the darkness, I heard this. Jesse. Just like that. And then something in my mind, you know how you have these weird thoughts that pop up that you don't know if they're yours, or you don't know if they're like a proxy of whatever. Well, like I said, I used to journal a lot, and something told me not to journal about this. Something said, don't talk about this. Don't journal about this. Don't talk about how you're about to go through some fucking shit. And I didn't know what any of this meant at the time. And I actually brushed it off probably for a whole year after that. You know what I mean? Not knowing or giving a shit. You know what I mean? But like something told me not to. It's like if you have a plan against a certain force, and it's always around you. How do you plan against it? Basically, something warned me, I feel like, not to write about what I was going to do, not to look up what I was going to do, not to ask for direction. I just had to figure it out somehow without anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without any type of action outward. It was a really weird concept to me at the time, and I was like,
You're trying to keep your thoughts to yourself.
yeah, basically somehow covertly managed it. It's still something that I struggle to understand why I even had those thoughts, or if it was a post dream message that I was still entranced in. You know what I mean? But it was just strange. And then anyway, so later on, like I said, I'm going through all these things, and we're in Texas, and I have this dream again, right? I'm dreaming, and I'm walking through the house, like, I don't realize that I'm dreaming. It's like a real dream. Like, I'm real. You know, it's so lucid.
Yeah.
I can feel the walls. I can feel how cold the tile is on my feet. And the house just feels different to me. It's dimmer. It lacks something. Something intuitively tells me that this isn't the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I start screaming around the house for everybody. I'm like, yeah, Dad, you're around. Sam, I'm looking for Sam, my dog. I'm looking for Donnie, anybody. Nobody's around. The house is completely silent. And, like, it's real to me. Everything's real. I can feel my body. So I'm like, how about I do this? I took a running start from the bedroom to the kitchen table. And this sounds weird, right? But this is the only freaking way that, for some reason, while I was in this dream, that I could rationalize anything to try and get out of this weird whatever the fuck it was. Because I figured if I did make this loud noise, somebody would come out and be like, yo, what the fuck? So I ran from the doorway to my room to the kitchen table, and I jumped, and I was going to just plank it on the table, right? But instead, when I went to land, when I was about to land on the table, I woke up. It was strange, man. It was really strange. And when that happened, Donnie told me at that same exact night that was all going on, that Bianca was reading something, and something whispered into her ear. It was a language that she's never heard. It was almost like they were speaking in reverse, or they were speaking and words. Some words were just dropped out, period. You know what I mean? And it was really strange that she said that to me, because a lot of the stuff that we accidentally recorded, Conrad and I did on my phone, when we do like back and forths while I was still trying to hang out with my son and Minot before I came down here, we involuntarily kept catching EVPs, and that's what they sounded like. It was really strange. It was like a strange, very strange language that just didn't seem like it existed or wasn't coherent or cogent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that happened. When I met Marissa, I mean, there's a lot more to these stories, and there's a lot more psychological devastation that I went through when this was going on. I mean, it fucked with me, man. Like, I felt like I had nowhere to go. It kept me up. Like you said, when you'd almost fall asleep, when I'd almost fall asleep at night, every once in a while I'd like get there, and all of a sudden, like, fucking loud bang right on the wall, or a scratch or something would fucking jolt me awake when I was about to fall into sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Involuntarily, you know what I mean? I wasn't doing that shit to myself on purpose. Anyway, when I first met Marissa, I didn't tell her anything. You know, the girl that I'm with right now, I didn't tell her anything, the shit that I was going on and that's stuff like that. And we had just bought my mom this watch. And we're like, yeah, this is a cool watch. This is the one you want, right? And I think it was her birthday. And she put it on her coffee maker, it was in the middle of her coffee maker, this big old fucking military grade Keurig coffee maker. It was probably like a 14 by 14 flat surface. In the middle of this 14 by 14 flat surface, she placed this watch thinking it would be safe. We just bought it for her birthday. And we're all talking, and just all of a sudden, like a Mexican jumping bean. You remember those Mexican jumping beans in Florida that we'd buy, and they had the
Yeah.
worms inside of them, and when the sun hit them, they'd jump around.
Yeah.
The watch literally jumped up and fucking landed face down on the fucking kitchen floor and cracked the screen. And Marissa was just like, what the fuck? And that's when I decided to divulge. I was like, yeah, this is normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and she was like, what the fuck? So anyway, I'm done. I'm done with all that. There's a lot more to it. And I just to let you guys know, I've been trying to figure out what it was for the longest time. And if it's still watching me, the whole time it was happening, I did feel a heavy weight, like in my spine almost, like I was being watched, surveilled 24/7. Like it knew more about me than I knew myself. Like it knew my algorithms. It knew everything, every inch and detail of my life, except for what I didn't divulge. That was creatively going on in my mind, statically. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that's why I feel like I got that message a while back, because if something observes you for long enough, it can know everything about you. If it reads the things that you write, or reads the things that you read, or watches you every day, you can kind of predict what's going to go down. You know what I mean? Almost even predict what you're thinking. But not to 100%, right?
No.
But anyway, that's my story. I'm sorry that I took most of the time, but we're not going to end it. We're just going to make this a special episode.
Spooky.
That's Josh's butthole again.
So one of the stories, so yeah, it says it's all around the world, but it's all mostly based in America.
Yeah.
One of the stories was about an alcoholic woman who had 3 sons. And she was traumatized most of her life. And they believed that her trauma was actually the aberrations that haunted her. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I call bullshit on that type of shit, man.
Well, I think there's a possibility for that. Astral
suppose.
projection, and
Yeah.
there's a possibility that she has a psychic.
They made an American Dad episode about it. It was his wife. She was sexually frustrated, and she was the reason why there was poltergeist activity. Yeah.
It's a possibility. I thought it was pretty interesting that there was 3 ghosts and 3 boys.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting story.
No, I agree. I'd really like to know. There's a lot of worst case scenarios, especially when you're isolated. When I was going through that stuff, the thing that scared me the most was the mainstream stories that you heard, like with fucking Amityville Horror, the guy killing his whole family, or any of those family annihilator possessions, like Chris Benoit. That shit scares the fucking hell out of me, man. Like, nobody wants that to happen to them. I love my family so fucking much. I couldn't fathom if something just jumped into my body as me and terrorized my family. That would fuck me so bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's terrifying stuff. Those types of stories fuck me hard. Like, I hate them. And the Elisa Lam story in that book fucks me so bad. Like, there's Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? That's a scary story, even if it wasn't paranormal activity. But the video is paranormal. You know what I mean? Like the lights in the elevator, how all of them just keep lighting up and dart dimming and all that stuff. And for her to even, like, the fact that they were saying it's physically impossible for anybody to even lift the lid to that water tower, for her to go into it, and the way that it happened, just completely weird events. And the Cecil Hotel, man, I know so many people have done episodes on the Cecil Hotel, but that is one fucked up place where, like, serial killers just happen to coexist with each other in that same area without realizing it. You know what I mean? It was like a beacon of just fucked up shit.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of negative energy in that area, and that scares the shit out of me. Stuff like that scares the shit out of me, especially since I've been around it. I mean, this heavy feeling, this desolate, fucked up feeling.
That book that you let me borrow or let me have, Quantum Gravity, it talks about two different theories, and one theory is string theory. And the way string theorists try to, unite quantum theory with relativity is to create extra dimensions. Who's to say? You know what I mean? Like, these extra dimensions, we can't understand it. We couldn't fathom what these extra dimensions are. I mean, like, if our existence is more than what it is physically, bleeds into these, you know what I mean, and reverberates around time, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing to say that, there's these stains in some places where they're susceptible to be stained, like haunted places to be stained.
Yeah.
At a quantum extra dimensional level.
Yeah, dude. Every culture has
every
culture has an idea and a way to explain that. I mean, the Islam calls them jinn. They live in their own parallel universe, literally the same plane of existence, different universe, parallel to ours, and they basically, it's this warning to not stay up past a certain time because they come out around that time and they just coexist in a different plane, but also somehow leak over into our plane. And they get mad because sometimes you can kill their kids by staying awake and going around the house and just, you know what I mean? And then they'll haunt you, or they give reasons, copious mechanisms for why they've gone through the hauntings that they've gone through. They'll say, oh, well, jinn are just like people, but they have powers, and some of them are just fucking nuts, and that's why you see hauntings. You know what I mean? Yeah. Every culture has them. Every single culture has them. Christianity has a shitload of them.
I mean, every culture has ghosts, demons, spirits.
The idea of different universes.
Spirits of forests, spirits of rivers, and sometimes certain areas have malign or evil spirits. Especially places where people go to die, like that one Japanese forest.
Oh, the suicide forest, dude. Yeah. There's a place I'm never going.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just obvious. Even if I wasn't a believer in ghosts, I'd be like, yeah, I'm never going there.
Well,
because it's just a risky thing.
The situation in Japan is, I guess you could say, is really stressing the mental health of the inhabitants.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the amount of work they have to do. You know what I mean? Some of them are working more than 10 hours a day.
Yeah, dude, they have suicide nets and shit. I mean, we're about to have those too. Because, we have suicide nets. It's illegal to commit suicide, and cops will always try to stop you from doing that, and they'll send you to the psych ward or whatever. I don't know. But the state of things, that's why I said we're the end of the world transmission. The state of things as we see them, it's just degrading into a deeper, deeper pile of shit. And maybe that's why I was targeted, because... or Josh even was targeted. You told me a story that stuck with me that I thought was fucking awesome, where you said that you heard, like, you were half in sleep and you heard something growling at you from the corner.
Oh, yeah. So I was sleeping in same place, same apartment area as in Korea. Where I was living the floor underneath where that guy committed suicide, and I heard this growling. And, I was afraid. I'm not going to lie. I was like, what the fuck? And I decided to just growl back, like, fuck you. And what happened after that is something jumped onto the bed, and it started to, like a little dog bite at my feet. And that's when I woke up, and I couldn't go back to sleep that night. I
started to think, like, that's what's on the other side of the realm. That's what the jinn are. Whatever fucks with our reality. They're these tiny little imp-looking creatures. And I got obsessed with the idea, because here's why. I took a picture of Conroy when he was a real little baby. And it was like a paranormal type of picture. Certain things were a little off about it, and we looked. And there was this little tiny... Well, first, Connor's grandma saw a lady's face coming into his. And it was weird. It was it was there. It was like... It looked like an old Native American woman's face. But you remember that scene from Ghostbusters 2 where the guy was trying to possess the baby? And you kind of saw the old man's face over the baby's face before it was merging, you know? Or while it was merging. Well, it was kind of like that, but the lady came in upside down. So her forehead and her eyes were like in his chin. So she was kind of like failing at that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not laughing at her, but like, God knows I don't want anybody to be cursed because I'm laughing at that. I'm just saying that's how it came in. I don't know what the intent of that particular moment was, but along a closer inspection of this photograph, because when you see something strange, you look closer at other things, right?
Yeah.
Like that photo in Aha Falls that we almost forgot to talk about again. We'll talk about that one after, so we don't forget. But there was a tiny little gremlin imp-looking creature by his pillow. Looked like it was grabbing him. Man, it was really weird. It was very detailed. Like, it was, you could see its little muscles, you could see its little facial features, like a tiny little thing. And then in the background where his crib should have been was like, it looked like a fire. And if you zoomed in on this photo, it was very, very bizarre. His mom, I wish she was on this podcast with us so she could fucking say what I'm talking about, like validate it or verify it. You know what I mean? Like, it looked like this thing, like an imp king almost, sitting on top of a fiery throne. It was really weird, but like we had to zoom in, so maybe my brain was just telling me weird stuff. But ever since then, I just thought of, like, I've had this conspiracy theory about, like, imps or fairies or whatever, you know, because that's where it all comes down to. Fairies are not what you read in or what you think. We should do an episode on fairies, because fairy tales are always fucked up because fairies are fucked up. Like, they're fucked up creatures, man. You don't ever want to run into a fairy, like, if they're real.
Yeah.
We should do an episode on fairies, because people don't know what the fuck fairies are, but they will fuck your ass, man. There's some weird fucked up creatures that they're immortal. Like, there's a lot of information on actual fairies, on what the Scottish and Irish believed that they were, man. It's a giant rabbit hole, you know? It's really cool.
Yeah.
We should definitely get into an episode on that. But anyway, dude, let's talk about the Aha Falls picture. I know we kind of did a little bit, but...
Yeah, I mean, we took a picture of it. I can't remember. Did we take a picture of people in the background?
No, there was nobody in the background. It was just... We took a picture of the waterfall, and to the left of the waterfall, like significantly to the left.
I think
Mom
still has it.
Yeah, she has the negative. She doesn't have the Polaroid, because, or not the Polaroid, but the actual physical picture, because somebody... Remember I told you somebody stole it, and they wanted to keep it they wanted to send it in, and they were just impressed by the photo, which they should have been, because it was really detailed. Like, it was fucking uncanny, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say amazing, because it was such a fucking horrifying picture, but
yeah, there was just
faces everywhere, and in the middle it was like pronounced. This guy was biting the back of this chick's head, and it was a white guy. It wasn't a Japanese guy, and it was a white woman, and she had a pearl necklace on, and he was biting the back of this woman's head. Like, it was really fucking terrifying, man. Really strange. Very strange photo. Unless, like, I don't know, there's no way I can explain that. I mean, there's probably ways to explain it, but it just makes no sense.
Well, I mean, our minds are pattern. Our brains pick up
Yeah,
patterns,
they recognize patterns,
and
but
they'll make it into a human face or
it
whatever.
it is
Same thing with Mars.
it is uncanny, though, like how it just looked exactly like that, though. You know what I mean? Because I don't know, man.
Our brains are basically our reality. And
Yeah.
trick us, man. Like,
it's
we
possible.
can go insane and not even know we're insane. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that'd be hard to convince somebody what's happening to them is not real.
Hey, are you insane?
I couldn't. I don't think so.
Very genuine answer. Thank you. If he were to say no, I would have called you on your bullshit.
So let's hold on. Let me go take a piss, Jesse, and then we can go talk about the video or the audio.
Okay, I'm gonna download what we got so far, and then I'll push another recording because we're at 75 minutes. I don't want to lose it. Okay. So, how was your pee?
It was great. I made sure to turn all the lights on before I went in there and did a check around.
Yeah, no fucking kidding. I'm in a room with my son behind me, but I still keep looking back there, like making sure he's not gonna fucking turn into a goddamn goat man. We're gonna show audio from the first episode when we were talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you say? 3910 was where it was.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll go to Spotify because we are on Spotify. We are also on Audible, and we are also on Pornhub. If you go to Pornhub and type in 2 girls, 1 cup. I mean, 2 guys, 1 brain. 2 guys, 1 brain. Go to 3110.
Yeah.
Dang it.
3910.
3910. And when do I stop? Oh, right now.
Stop at like 41 seconds or 42. It's when you come back and you're like, why is there so much static?
Okay. I'm going to start at 39. And this is footage from the first show. I had a weird feeling and got up and grabbed our new puppy. We got a new puppy today to be Hank's companion. She's a sweetheart, black lab mix. She has the biggest dick that I've ever seen. I'm just kidding. She's a good dog. I'm going to play the audio now. Are you ready?
Yep.
I'm just playing.
That's what we heard.
That's what it was. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna play it now. Let's see. It's gonna be a little hard. 3906. Damn it. Sorry, guys. Is all that noise you?
Yeah, I think so. I'm moving around.
Oh, okay. Static starts.
Yeah.
Dude, I haven't listened to this. It's kind of giving me a head rush. It's freaking me out a little bit. You there, brother?
Yeah, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, what's with all the feedback all of a sudden?
There's feedback.
Hear me now. No, it sounds better. Sorry, I heard a noise and I had to go check it out. And I got freaked out and I ended up bringing my puppy back.
That was what happened with the last time when we started talking, dude, about this shit. And I just started thinking about the implications of weaponized astral projections.
Yeah, dude. The door right next to me, the closet door, just busted open. Like, and I'm I'm not even like, my elbow is 8 inches away from the door. Like, it opened. It's like, what the fuck? That happened in real time when I was talking to you, not when I left.
Yeah.
What's that
Yeah.
noise? You want to keep
That
playing
is
it?
weird.
Do you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
You want me
What
to
is
keep playing it, Josh?
Yeah. rewind
Sounded
it.
like
This is
somebody
when
talking. We're gonna be able to listen to this playback. You heard that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a weird.
Rewind it, dude.
It
You
was
heard
a
it.
voice, some dude.
Okay, I'm rewinding it to 41.
Because I've been able to, like,
Yeah, dude.
the door right next to me, the closet door, just busted open. Like, and I'm not even, like, my elbow is 8 inches away from the door. Like, it opened. It's like, what the fuck? So,
Right
What
there,
the
dude.
fuck
right
was
there.
that?
Did you hear
what's
it?
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like a scream.
Yeah.
It is weird.
Do you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
What is that?
let's do it again.
What the fuck is going on? And it's like 2 o'clock in the... There it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody's singing
Oh no, that
in my
was
apartment apartment.
that wasn't the
Whoa,
singer.
what's with all the feedback all of a sudden?
Yeah. See, like,
Can you hear me now?
Now it sounds...
I don't think that was.
Sorry,
dude,
I heard a noise.
Yeah,
and I
I
had to
don't-
go check it out.
This
I
is
don't
it.
think it was the guy
And I
singing
got
because
freaked
it
out, and I
didn't
ended
sound
up
like
bringing
that
my
guy.
puppy back.
You brought the puppy back because it was
That was
protecting
what
you.
happened the last time when we started talking dude,
hold on.
about this shit, and I just started thinking about the implications of weaponized astral projections.
Yeah, dude. The door right next to me, the closet door, just busted open. Like, and I'm not even like, my elbow is 8 inches away from the door. Like, it opened. It's like, what the fuck? So,
Right there, dude.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know, man.
That doesn't sound like the Mr. Singing Man.
No, it didn't. It's a roar.
It's some fucking. That sent shivers up my butthole.
And it happened when you left, and you thought you felt something, and
Oh, when I
that's
went and got the puppy that time.
That's when the static happened. When you opened the door, it felt like something, came in, and then the door opened on you.
Isn't that fucked, man? Isn't that fucking nuts, dude?
Yeah, that's fucking weird.
Oh my god. My face is numb now.
Are
My
you going
butthole's
to
open.
Are you gonna be able to sleep tonight, Jose?
Face up, or the face down, butthole up. Really though, I am freaked the fuck out. It's cool because I get to experience it with all of our 5 listeners. But I kind of want to turn the podcast into this, like, paranormal shit, because I've always wanted. I don't want to like. I don't want to like invite anything, because there's some paranormal podcasts that came through, and the hosts just died. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be that kind of paranormal podcast where we go and fucking look for. I you know what? I don't even want to be a paranormal podcast. Fuck
we'll do preliminary, just a tip investigations. We ain't going full.
hell
full
no.
in there.
Hell no. Hell no, man. I don't want to get ghost herpes. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is if you think about it. Fuck that. We have to get Jesse on here to talk about Sandhaven, the sanitarium.
He brought me over there.
Dude, fuck that place. Fuck that place.
His mom used to work there. Schroeder was telling me about this. So the same place you worked, I guess one of the residents, she kept the lights on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And she told him, I keep the lights on all the time because I don't want to see the face of the devil. And he didn't think of anything of it till she passed away and the lights were off. And one of your coworkers, he was from either Zaire or from Africa.
Yeah, from Kenya. He's a really close friend of mine. His name's
Okay.
Yusuf. He's a really good dude. I love that guy.
He saw some like a devil head walking around.
Yep.
and he
Yep,
decided-
Yusuf went through a whole bunch of that stuff with us, man. I mean, you if you work in a nursing home or assisted living in an Alzheimer's unit, even, you're gonna have stories. And man, that can be our podcast. I wish you worked at. Well, actually, I don't, because you might. There was one lady, dude. Me and Jesse were taking care of this person, and she said, "There's these people in my bathroom, and they're looking at me, and they're looking at you." And Connor's mom actually has a similar story to this, so it started making me think that there's a strange phenomenon happening with these visions that these residents had, you know. But we asked what these people looked like, and they were just sitting there. They were neutral, but they didn't have faces. And it freaked me the fuck. I was like, I'm just gonna go. Like, there was another time, me and Schroeder were taking care of this lady. I needed help because her husband kind of was combative. They slept in the same room, and I think he was either helping me help her because she was kicking and fighting, or he was kicking and fighting while I was trying to help her and she needed help. I mean, it's an Alzheimer's unit. You know what I mean? Regular everyday stuff, and without violating any type of HIPAA stuff, just gonna say what happened. We laid her down in her bed, and she had this jewelry drawer, like a jewelry box, and the middle drawer just pulled open. She looked at it and looked at us with this big old smile, like, what the fuck? You know, her mouth was open. She's like, huh? Did you see that? You know, like, and me and Jesse were like, huh. Like, that is very interesting. Goodbye, exorcist lady. You know, like, we were going to be like, can you do that again? And she was like, in time. You know, it looked like she was waiting for us to ask, you know, like, can you do that again? You know, like, we were like, no, you can do it again whenever, in time. You know, like, a little fucking freaky for me. There's a lot of stories, man. A lot of fucked up stories. And there were times where I did fall asleep while I was at work and woke up to a fucking pissed off 6'4" man. Didn't know where the fuck he was and why the fuck I was there, but he was mad at the world. I've been hit in the face. I've been bit. I've been fucking stuck with needles because I was trying to give them shots for their type 1 diabetes. I've been through it. Just trying to. The first assignment that I had was hospice care. This woman was dying, and she died on my watch. But before she died, man, it was she kept waking up randomly. It was like peaceful, but she kept waking up randomly, and she kept saying like, "Help, help!" And I was trying to read this book, and I was so fucking annoyed with this girl. I just wanted to be like, "Stop, stop doing that." But that poor girl died that day. It was I don't know. I feel bad for even having like a rude thought. You know what I mean? Yeah, I might have even said stop. It was so long ago. I don't even know. But I don't think I did. I was a pretty professional person, but I might have. I don't know. It's just a lot of stuff happened in the Alzheimer's unit, man. And
go ahead.
I remember when I told him, because we had to call 911, everybody had to come in. I told him when exactly she died, you know, and like they don't go by that. They go by when they got there and when they pronounce them dead. So it's like it was a little interesting to me because it took him like 3 fucking hours to get there, and I'm like, dude, she's in here like fucking stiff as a board now. She didn't die just now, you know. Like, yeah. But they were like, no, it's not. That's how it works. And I learned something new that day.
Wow.
But
yeah, man, that sucks. You get old. I couldn't imagine like getting old and living in a place full of strangers, though. Did their family doesn't visit you much and shit? That would suck. Like you're forgotten.
Do you hear that, Connor? Is that you making that noise? Oh, yeah, okay. Connor is making noise in the background being a dickhead. He's going... Anyway, man, I do have regrets in life, and one of them was being in that room with her and thinking those thoughts of that she was a little annoying before she passed. I didn't know she was going to pass that day, and I feel bad about it. Her name was... I'm just kidding. We're not allowed to do that. Oh, fuck. I'm just kidding. May she rest in peace. And may everybody there that worked there and lived there rest in peace. Lived and died there. Sad story. One of our coworkers, who was around 70 years old. She was a really nice person, but she got caught up in a lot of Glenn Beck's stuff and sensational news. She would just stay up all night watching her network, and she was such a nice person though, like other than that stuff. And we had a lot of breakthrough conversations, and she gave me some books on purgatory. I was really interested in eclectic readings from different religions and different types of ideas and religions. She was very nice to give me, because she was deeply Catholic, the theories of purgatory and purgation and all that stuff. And she's now a resident in the place that she worked for like 15, 20 years. That is the saddest thing that I think I've ever had the news of listening to, other than fucking Uvalde, and we did an episode on that. That's not what, in terms of what I'm talking about with people that I know immediately. Yeah. She lives at her work basically. It's fucking horrible, man. Because she has dementia now, and then like there's been science on it. Like they think that if you're exposed to around people who have dementia, then maybe you'll get it too. I mean, there's a high frequency of that possibility. So maybe I'll be lost in the mix of my own thought one day. I really hope fucking not. You know what I mean? But whatever. Yeah. I mean, be one way to wake up with your dick in somebody else's pussy, though. Like, I guess I got a reason. You know? Your wife can't get mad at you.
Alzheimer's is sad, you know?
Yeah.
You forget everything.
Yeah, and my mind, of course, goes into these whole things like, what if there's a demon of Alzheimer's, you know, a demon of a pool of forgetfulness like they have in the Greek underworld, or even some versions of purgatory where there's a pool of forgetfulness, just people around just forgetting. That's a part of hell, you know, or a part of the underworld. My mind goes to too many different places. I mean, I've even had like weird conspiracies that our brother died a long time ago, and he's just a continuation of a shapeshifter. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really believe that, but you have those fantastical branches of thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you talking about Donnie?
Yeah, that would suck if it was true, but it's not. Donnie, I love that guy to death. He's a good kid. And I don't, even if he was fucking shapeshifter, I'd still love him.
Bro, we couldn't prove it.
But you know what I mean, though? Like, you ever get those weird, fantastical branches of thought that go off in nowhere, and you...
Yeah, I do. I was talking to this girl in Korea, and
Come up closer.
I woke up and I thought the whole, like I wasn't me, like, and I had to, convince myself that I am me and I'm not a different person than I was before that. But for whatever reason, I thought I wasn't me, and I had to go around convincing myself that I was me and I'm in, I'm not in a dream, or I'm not, like,
Mm-hmm.
it was very weird. It was very weird.
I want to look that up and see if anybody else has had that sensation, because I know we can't be the only ones. I mean, if you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's not like I believed it. It's just a fantastical branch of thought that you can't prove wrong. You know what I mean? Like, and you're just like, it fucks with you a little bit. You're like, stop it. Stop that bullshit.
She said she had some of those thoughts too. It's hard to convince people.
Who now?
She's one of my coworkers in Korea.
Man. Yeah. This was a heavy episode. Probably one of our most engaging ones, though. I was super engaged. And
No.
I liked every story that you told. It's very near and dear to me. I honestly can't stop masturbating. I just can't.
Jesus.
No, it's not about Jesus. Now I can stop. Asshole. No, you know what? I'm looking at him right now. And That's why.
Jesus. All right, we're gonna watch the Disney movies now.
Are the kids still awake?
Oh, they are.
All right, you heard it here, folks. We did a paranormal episode, and you know what? We might do more because it is still a big, giant resident in my life, and I want to know what's going on. If you guys have any information on what's going on, you can email me at jdev1103@yahoo.com. That's Josh's email. I'm just kidding. Well, you can. Yeah, go ahead and email him. Or you can go at essejcwillson@gmail.com. That's my personal email. You can send me anything you want on that email, be it 9-inch hoggers around diameter. You know what I mean? I want to see a fat Pringles can. I'm just kidding. Fucking Pringles is going to be bigger than a fucking Pringles can. It'll be like a plate. A small plate.
Jesus Christ.
Show me that butt wrecker. I want you to kill that mushroom hopper. Hey man, I love you, dude. This was a good one. Thanks for actually staying up and doing this with me, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah.
Most importantly, be safe, and if you have any bad thoughts, turn them into good thoughts. Yeah, I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean. Bah.
I know what you mean.
Have a good day, my juggalo. Just playing.
All right.